Some Doctor Who monsters I never want to see again because they've given me nightmares and I just eek whenever I see or hear of them. But some I need to return, and I've got 5 that I really want. Hello guys, welcome back to New Who HQ. I am Matt. Today we're going to be ranking the 5 monsters that I really want to return. Also, I'm going to measure how likely these monsters are from returning to Doctor Who, from 0 being they never ever would, to 10 being they're going to be in the next episode. So let's stop babbling and get straight in at number 5. The Family of Blood. Yes, from the two-parter from Series 3, Human Nature and the Family of Blood. I thoroughly enjoyed this episode and I really liked the Family of Blood. I loved obviously the Doctor being a human and the 1913 feel and just everything regarding that. But the Family of Blood was still pretty strong. Now this is where the anthology thing comes in that I just mentioned, because whilst the Family of Blood have reappeared not in the main show, it is hinted at in anthology. But in terms of where it ended for them in the show, it was very much open for them to return because the Doctor trapped them all. He didn't kill them. He made sure that he did not kill them. We wanted to live forever, so the Doctor made sure that we did. The Family of Blood were trying to kill the Doctor so they could have his regeneration energy and so they could basically become immortal. That's what they were trying to do, and that's what the Doctor gave them in the end, which was kind of nice of him, I guess. So yes, of course, they were never seen again on any other episodes of Doctor Who, apart from the short stories, Tales of the Terror and Blood Will Out. In these short anthologies, it saw that 3 of the family members escaped from their prisons, but the Doctor quickly managed to recapture them and find new punishments. But we do know that the daughter was freed from imprisonment and allowed to live out the rest of her days. So yet again, they remain trapped. So it will be hard to get out of, but there's certainly something which I would quite like to return. Now, of course, you've got to remember, it's not just the Family of Blood that made that episode amazing. It was, as I said, everything I've already mentioned, and the Doctor, Martha, everything. That episode holds up, and we know that stuff like Blink, which is going to be brought up as an example quite a bit here, where something so iconic as Blink is, the Weeping Angels, have gone on and sort of gone downhill a little bit. I don't want that to happen, but surely another appearance isn't out of the question. So out of 10 being they're absolutely going to return, and 0 they never ever would, I'd give them probably a 3 out of 10. So yes, I'd give them a 3 because they're quite irrelevant nowadays, but the chances of them coming back is not completely shut. The door is slightly still open. Let's move up then to number 4. The Trickster. Yes, this is cheating because the Trickster is never in Doctor Who. It's been mentioned, and of course it's very much a big thing in Doctor Who. But obviously the Trickster is mainly known from the Sarah Jane adventures, and kind of while the Doctor had the Master, Sarah Jane had the Trickster. It was kind of that same sort of hero-villain type thing that we had in Sarah Jane. And I think because now with Sutekh came back, he's now been defeated, but we know that this whole pantheon of gods, this sort of vibe and feel that the show is going down is set to continue. The Trickster is mentioned by Sutekh, so he's very, very important. So the Trickster returning, I'm going to give it probably a 6, mainly because of Sutekh in the finale and how much the pantheon of gods are up for discussion at the moment. The Trickster, in case you don't know, is a powerful being who wanted to cause chaos on Earth, or don't they all, and is part of the pantheon of Discord. The Trickster's connection to Sutekh adds depth to the Trickster's character and hints at larger implications. The Trickster's inclusion in the pantheon could mean that the Trickster could return. So absolutely, yeah, there's always a chance that he could be returning. Let's move up then to number 3. The Dream Lord. The Dream Lord was in Amy's Choice in Series 5, I believe. And this one's a little bit more difficult because whilst the Trickster and the Family of Blood are real living things, the Dream Lord is not. The Dream Lord, well, clue in the name, is all a dream. He is not actually real. He's basically a manifestation of the Doctor's own consciousness, meaning he has no real power outside of dreamlike scenarios. So that means that if he was to return, this doesn't mean it's impossible at all. Nothing's ever impossible in Doctor Who. But basically, to bring the Dream Lord back, you've got to have the right kind of episode set up where it's a bit like Amy's Choice, which fits in fantastically. You don't know if something's real, you don't know if something's a dream. But because it's the subconsciousness of the Doctor's always going to be around, so there's always a chance that the Dream Lord could slip in. Yet again, I don't know, I feel like this is more likely than some people might make out, because it's not been done in a long time. Dream sequences in Doctor Who are really, really good when they're done, and having someone like the Dream Lord adds so much to the story. So I'm going to give that a 6 out of 10. I think it's more likely than the Trickster. Let's move up then to number 2. Oh, this is cheating. I know everyone in the comments is going to say they've appeared so many times, they're not really a monster, which is very true. The Ood. Oh my gosh, I always say this whenever I speak about monsters. I am a sucker for the Ood. Of course, yes, firstly, the Ood themselves are not a monster, okay? They're just tiny little, bless them, tiny little creatures, and we learn in Planet of the Ood that they are slaves. They are literally just radicalised very, very quickly by, well, the devil in series 2. The point is, they've appeared quite a lot, okay, unlike basically everything else on this list. And also, they had their own episode where we got an insight into what their lives is like, what the race is like, how they were brought up, sort of just a general, a little bit of history. And they have appeared. So The Time in the Ood, End of Time, David Tennant's 2-part finale, Planet of the Ood, The Satan's Pit, The Doctor's Wife. They've appeared in Pond Life, which is a webcast. A lot of cameos and stuff like Face the Raven, Revolution of the Daleks, Survivors of the Flux and The Vanquishers. It isn't because they've not been around, so I need to see more of them. I just want to see more of them because I'm in love with them. Yeah. The Ood returning, I'm gonna go with probably an 8 out of 10, because the Ood are kind of just, they pop up every now and then, and it hasn't got to be a story for it to count. They can just make an appearance, make a quick little cameo. That's always very likely with the Ood, and they're a fan favourite as well. Okay, let's move up then to number 1, and I was very sceptical about this one because you've got to be very, very careful, but at number 1 I did put the Vashta Nerada. Yes. I will use Blink as a fantastic example here, where the return of the Vashta Nerada wouldn't get much negativity from fans. I think a lot of people would support it and a lot of people would enjoy it. But sadly, with stuff like the Weeping Angels, and that's obviously very much a bold opinion anyway to say that they've not been in any good stories since Blink. Of course they have. There were parts in Matt Smith's 2 parts of the Weeping Angels where we saw the Weeping Angels move and different things were added to them where it almost lost their scariness. They're very, very powerful, and that kind of felt a little bit lost as the appearances went on and it didn't feel as special. Now, the Weeping Angels have returned pretty much the same amount as the Ood, maybe even a little bit more. They're normally quite important. Obviously Flux, they were in Flux, so quite recent as well. The Vashta Nerada have not appeared since series 4 in Forest of the Silence in the Library and Forest of the Dead. And why I aim more towards them is because there's so much more left to be explored with them. We don't know their origins. They're a very different kind of threat and monster to what there really is in Doctor Who. The Doctor has stated that the Vashta Nerada can be found on 1 billion planets. So basically, they haven't got to be on Earth, they could be anywhere in the universe. Their ability to move in the shadows makes them a very unsettling enemy. And they're quite a different challenge to the Doctor. You could kind of link this to Midnight as well. The Doctor didn't beat the Vashta Nerada. They were just clever and they backed off from the Doctor. Yes, the Doctor may have won the overall story, but the Vashta Nerada, he didn't beat them at all. You just run. Sontarans, hit him over the head. Daleks, aim for the eyeball. Vashta Nerada, you just run. That's all you can do. I love monsters like that, and of course you don't want to keep bringing them back because then you're kind of, you've got to defeat them in some way to end the story, and maybe one day the writer would decide to go down the route of let's defeat them, let's end this. And we don't want that. We sometimes like these mysteries to be left open, which makes the story live on. It leaves the Vashta Nerada with a good reputation, having them only with one story, but at the same time, you could do so much more with them. The library was a fantastic location. The library is a very dark, eerie, quirky place anyway, especially that library, so it could be done in a forest, it could be done on an aeroplane, you know, it could be done on a numerous amount of places, so I would like to see them return. The chances of it, I never really see anything about it, so I'd probably say a 2 out of 10, but I'd like it. So there we go, there we have it. Those are the 5 monsters that I want to return to Doctor Who. Of course there are many others, but those are 5 which I feel like can return with good reason. They're not completely impossible, they've not been properly defeated. They're all very much still lingering in the Who-niverse. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. Keep it nice. If you're new to the channel, like, subscribe and give this video a like, that would help me out massively. And I'll see you all very, very soon. Goodbye.